to talk a little bit about Genesis and its AMC debut.
Look, on Impact, live, whenever we do TNA Impact on January the 15th, this has not been announced as of yet. Matt and Jeff Hardy, the Hardys, are going to team up, take on. But at Genesis, it is officially going to be the Hardys versus you got two big scoops.
What is something that fans don't understand about the bond of Brotherhood?
I think being brothers and being blood, I think it's a lot easier, especially if you have a good relationship, it's a lot easier to trust the person.
I'd like to talk about some of the potential talent that you see in the industry that you can look at as raw, untapped potential, and if there's any that stand out.
I'm all about some Leon Slater.
Yeah, Leon Slater's he is going to be a huge star going forward, no doubt about it.
Just every time I'm in the ring with Zilla, man, it just makes me proud that I've made it this far. His dad, man, was probably in my singles career my most favorite feud ever, you know, because we had such good chemistry and just gelled so well together.
Nobody ever asked me that question before.
That's a good question. I haven't thought about that in a while.
Your network is truly your net worth.
And that's why I have the motto, winners only. Like,
that's a good question.
We got almost $100 million in the pipeline.
But I appreciate you because you have like some really great energy.
Welcome, guys, back to another episode of Dark Discussions Podcast, where we are excited to share some light on an upcoming pay-per-view and AMC debut with TNA Wrestling, January 15th and the 17th here at the Curtis Culwell Center. Today, I have the tremendous honor and pleasure of introducing you guys one of the best, if not the best, legendary tag teams in all of pro wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt and Jeff Hardy.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, thanks for having us.
I appreciate y'all guys. So before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about Genesis and its AMC debut and what it means to not only TNA fans, but the wrestling industry.
Yeah, it's a big deal for the pro wrestling industry. I mean, TNA is back. We're back on the level as high as you can be, you know, in line with all the other top companies. We're on AMC. It's a channel that is on every basic cable package. You know, it's in every hotel. If you have cable TV, you have AMC, and TNA is going to be on there. The show that's going to be on the 15th here at Curtis Culwell is going to be massive. It's going to be a live Impact. It's going to be the start of the AMC era, and we're following that 2 days later with Genesis, which is going to be an amazing pay-per-view.
I can't help but think back to my first run in TNA at the Nashville Fairgrounds, man, and then, you know, continuing to move on and grow and evolve, and then we ended up on Spike and started going to Florida to do these TV shows, man. It was such a huge transition back then, and now for here in 2026, man, debuting on AMC, it's just phenomenal.
No, most definitely, and it's in this year 2026, it's always good to see, you know, past promotions that everybody holds near and dear to their heart start to become on that, I guess, ascend, if you so to speak. Because, because
we're ascending. Yeah. We're ascending, no doubt.
And don't get me wrong, like TNA was always this big promotion that everybody holds near and dear to their hearts, but the fact that y'all guys are going to be on AMC just solidifies that to a newer generation of people who may have not grown up with Impact or TNA on Spike.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and it's real healthy for the industry because the more companies there are, that means the more jobs for aspiring pro wrestlers that are young trying to get into this. That's more job for production people behind the scenes, and it's just great overall for the entire industry.
Yeah. So I want to switch gears a little bit because since we're talking about younger talents, I want to take this back a little bit towards your journey, almost 30 years in the business. And, you know, ironically enough, this question has to do with Sacrifice, which is also a pay-per-view that happened not too long ago in El Paso. But going back into the late 90s, young Matt and Jeff Hardy, what was the first sacrifice that you guys made that told you pro wrestling wasn't a dream but more your life?
I just think I was going to school to be an engineer, and I got my associate's degree, and then I dropped out at 2 years. And I said, I'm going to chase this crazy wrestling dream. So that was a sacrifice. But I guess it half-ass worked out, you know, when it was all said and done. I mean, we're going into our 34th year doing this as pro wrestlers. So I think we've done pretty well for ourselves.
Yeah, my first childhood dream, I remember, was being a professional baseball player with the Atlanta Braves. I was dead set on that because I was always best at baseball, but then I got a dirt bike when I was around 12 years old because I love motocross and wanted a dirt bike so bad, and finally got one and got into motocross. And at this time I'd already started wrestling on trampolines in our backyard, every now and then a real ring or whatever. But then it finally came up to I was racing motocross amateur as an amateur, and I was wrestling on a pretty high independent level. And there was a moment when I said, okay, I think I was born to be a pro wrestler. I love riding this machine, but my body can be my machine, because I think I was gifted to be a pro wrestler. And that's when I stopped racing and really focused on pro wrestling. And here I am so many moons later.
True sacrifice.
I appreciate that, man. And the reason I like the theme of sacrifice is because it kind of shows people what they're willing to give up to ascend to a higher level.
Yeah, but I think sacrifice is something that comes with life, right? If you have dreams and aspirations, you're going to have to make sacrifices to obtain those things. You know, you're going to have to pick certain paths, and you're not going to be able to do every single thing that you want to. You're going to have to choose a specific path to get to your specific goal.
And so, does being brothers make this journey a lot easier or harder going into your 34th year of pro wrestling?
Definitely easier, I think. It's definitely like riding a bike, you know, the tag team wrestling thing. We can do good in the solo dimensions of our careers, but then we can we do a little better when we're together, especially now that we're older. So yeah, we started, you know, as the Hardy Boyz and in the E, and hopefully, you know, we'll end our careers in the E on an extremely high note. But right now, man, it's just living for the moment for real, and just day by day, and we're gonna do it until we can't.
So when you guys think of your careers, whether it's a singles run or a tag team run, was there ever a moment within those careers where y'all guys believed in each other more than y'all believed in yourselves at that point in time?
I don't know. I'll tell you what, when Jeff was on top of the world and became the WWE champion, I mean, I believed in him fully, no doubt about it. It's amazing. He was on top of the wrestling world. He was selling the most merchandise in all of pro wrestling. There's a certain catchphrase Jeff used for that. I'll let him go into it, but it's BTO, and he was a big deal back in those days. When he was the champion and he was rocking, man, his popularity was unprecedented.
Yeah, I was bigger than Obama. Bigger than Obama.
A funny anecdote to that is that whenever I grew up as a kid and watching Jeff on TV around that era, I remember one time and I didn't have a lot of money back then, you know, we didn't really grow up with that much money, so whenever somebody asked me, what do you dress for Halloween? I had some baggy pants, I had a tank top, I grabbed some long socks, cut them up, and did the whole thing. They were like, who's Jeff Hardy?
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I was like, whatever, I'm hanging around with the wrong crowd.
Yeah, right. It's funny you said that, man, because we grew up the exact same way. You know, we grew up, our family was not wealthy. We were very poor. Our mom died early. She had cancer, and our dad raised us. But I think that also makes us appreciate this life we've earned also too, because I think we both kind of live, you know, beneath our means, and we're very grateful, we're very appreciative because we have been through those hard times. And I think, as you said, going through those hard times really makes you appreciate the good times even more.
It was all, even back in '94 when we debuted on the big screen, man. It's the night I wrestled Scott Hall, you know, Razor Ramon, and I was only 16 years old. And it was just kind of like, it felt meant to be. And that was kind of a bad experience from my, you know, perspective, because I was just so young and I was terrified. I didn't really know a lot about wrestling at all. I was very green out there in the ring, and it was a hard ring back then. It was just you know, it kind of made me doubt myself, but then we were in that spot for a reason, man. And together, I just always knew that back then, during those jobber days, that we were going to keep impressing people to where they couldn't deny our talent, you know. So we were going to make somebody remember us, and we did.
So what is something that fans don't understand about the bond of brotherhood from your perspectives?
I think being brothers and being blood, I think it's a lot easier, especially if you have a good relationship, it's a lot easier to trust the person, especially you have to do business with them, you know, because it's one of those deals if when you're a team and, you know, if you're a tag team and you're well known for that, if one person makes a mistake, then it affects both people. And I feel like we're at a point in our lives and careers where we both greatly trust one another. You know what I mean? And we both know that we're on the same page, and we're both fighting for the greater good. So I feel like our bond is stronger than it's ever been.
And I have being a tag team, in my personal life, with the whole drugs and alcohol deal, I have exchanged my internal heaven for hell several times to where I had to rebuild again over and over again, and naturally that affects Matt. So it's just so nice to be on the other side of that last comeback, because I don't got another comeback in me. So I'm sure that was very, as a brother, man, oh my God, that was very tough. And naturally, failure is a part of success, though. And I've learned so much each and every time, and in a way, getting in trouble with the law did kind of save my life. I got to be honest with that. But the other big thing now, we're both parents. And we both have children. And speaking of sacrifice, man, got my oldest daughter was born in 2010. But just that first eye contact with the little human you've created, man, it's like the closest to God you can get here on earth, man, in my opinion. And man, I can imagine going through life and not experiencing that.
I can definitely share the sentiment with that, because I tell this to everybody I talk to. Having a kid can be either the best thing in your life, or, depending how you take it, the worst thing in your life. Because when I say best, it forces you as a man to kind of level up and put childish endeavors behind, because now as a father, you're responsible for another human life.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. And for the first time probably in all of our lives, we view someone more important than ourselves. You know what I mean? I feel like whenever you have a child, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I have 3 boys, and we finally had a girl, so 4 kids. But just they're the greatest thing ever. I couldn't imagine my life now without my kids, and I'm so glad I did it. And it really is the best thing I've ever done.
Amen.
Since we're talking about kids, I want to shed a little bit of light on Slammiversary earlier this year. Well, I guess since we're at the beginning of the year 2025, with Zilla Fatu coming out with the face paint, being inspired by you. So I want to know what kind of emotions were going behind the curtain with that, and him asking you to paint his face, and what did that mean to you, seeing a younger generation ask you for that blessing?
Oh, it's incredible and very surreal. I mean, I met him when he was a newborn baby. It was just crazy. And now that we've teamed with him several times, and I painted his face several times, and we'll definitely team with him again and have interaction with him. But his dad, man, was probably in my singles career my most favorite feud ever, because we had such good chemistry and just gelled so well together. The big guy against the small dude, and yeah, just every time I'm in the ring with Zilla, man, it just makes me proud that I've made it this far.
And what are your thoughts on that relationship with Zilla and Jeff?
I mean, I love it. We were both great friends with Umaga, with his dad, obviously, and the fact that his son now kind of hangs with us as well, and we got to hang with his dad. It's really cool. We actually got to wrestle him at House of Glory just a couple weeks ago, and it's cool. I added him to the list of fathers and sons that I've wrestled now, which is wild. But dude, he's got so much potential, and you can tell it means a lot to him, because as a child, he obviously knew who we were, and I'm sure he heard from his dad and looked up to us. So now to kind of be on the same level with us as peers, as colleagues, is very, very cool.
Yeah, we got one thing we've got to make happen in the future when we do another 6-man tag match. We were going to paint up, do the black light, glow in the dark paint, all 3 of us at one of these big 4th rope shows, but it got rained out, or the weather, it had to be canceled. But yeah, somewhere down the road, we're going to make that happen, man. We're all going to be glowing in the black light on the way to the ring.
No, most definitely. I can't wait to see that happen. But since we were on the theme about brotherhood and family, I want to talk about WrestleMania 25 when you guys face each other in a WrestleMania match. I want to talk about that rivalry and what that represented at that time in your life.
It was cool, because one of our dreams, I think, as kids were to wrestle one another in a marquee match on a WrestleMania, and we got the opportunity to do that. We were in a real good spot. It was an Extreme Rules match, and we were both very comfortable at facing one another at that time. I was okay and totally comfortable with being the bad guy, and not being afraid to be an asshole, you know, and have people hate me and boo me, whatever. And we did things right, and we're so honored that we got that moment and got a one-on-one important match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, another childhood dream that came true, man. We remember watching Owen and Brett do that, man, and we wanted to do that one day ourselves. And what a gift that was.
Did you feel that competing at that marquee level affect your relationship as brothers in any possible way? Maybe made y'all closer, maybe respect y'all guys in-ring work a lot more, or was it all just built on trust and just knowing each other over the years?
I mean, I think we were both very comfortable with it. I think we both trusted each other, and we were both very comfortable with it. And the first few times they tried to break us up and have me be the bad guy and face one another, like in 2000, 2001, we weren't ready. I don't think we weren't matured enough to do that and really go all in on it like we needed to go, give it the full effort, because we weren't comfortable with it. And I think we still had a lot more to do as a team at that time. So at this point we were. It's the first time that we absolutely felt comfortable doing it, and I think we both grew and learned a lot from it.
And I can say I was the first one to ever take the first twist of hate in the chair, because after the big leg drop, there was a signal through the referee to like go home then. But my exact word, I had 2 words for that, and it was like, fuck that. And then we did the twist of hate, and I was so proud of the way it looked.
So years later, y'all guys feuded again in TNA through the Broken Universe.
Yeah.
So how did that rivalry differ emotionally from the WWE one?
This one was a lot more fun and a lot easier. It was so great. We're both so blessed with the opportunity to be at TNA and be able to experiment with different things. And you know, I had this idea about trying to take storytelling in a different direction. I was like, what if I kind of do a throwback to the original Papa Shango, you know, Undertaker that had power, something, a character somewhat believed to be supernatural. And I told Jeff, I said, I want you to jump off the highest point you can, put me through a table, and then I'm going to dye a streak in my hair, and I'm going to be different. and you know, either people are going to think that I have broken my brain and unlocked it so I can use more of it, and I'm cognizant of where my soul's been, or they're going to think I'm crazy. One way or the other, I'm going to make it work. But dude, it was so much fun, and we got to shoot so much stuff at the Hardy compound, and working from home is the best experience ever.
So if anybody were to study those 2 feuds, what would each of them teach about the Hardy legacy?
That the Hardys are very good at storytelling in different formats, in different ways too. Because if you look at the one we did where it was Matt versus Jeff in 2009, that was a scenario of us like busting our ass, working hard, taking risks, doing all these other cool moves, being innovative, and telling a story of jealousy, envy, right? Me towards Jeff. And then if you look at the Broken Brilliance thing, it's over the top, dramatic, a little bit campy, so cinematic, and it was larger than life characters. And Jeff, it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have been as successful as it was if Jeff wouldn't have fully leaned into the whole Brother Nero thing, and he got that over huge. And that was a very important part of it.
I feel very confident in as far as the cinematic stuff, and that was a huge like kickoff to such a cinematic match after cinematic match moving forward into the future. But I can totally see some cinematic matches happening on AMC in the near future, man. Some really badass ones.
No, for sure. So it kind of draws me into some of the stuff that we've seen the late Bray Wyatt do on WWE in a sense. But him being a younger talent than the both of y'all, Matt, when you were working with him, did you see any parallels between the creative process between you and Bray Wyatt?
Yeah, no, I loved his process. He was an incredibly creative individual. I loved how he would think out of the box. You don't meet a ton of those think out of the box, minds in wrestling always. Some people are very straightforward. They just kind of like wrestle, and they have that in mind. And now like there's such a mentality of like work rate and the quality of the match, which that's not really what I'm more focused on. I'm more focused on the character and making the fans care about the character, whatever that character may be. But Bray had such an amazing mind. He could think out of the box. I mean, there's so many things that you saw, like the Firefly Funhouse and the match he had with John Cena, which was so crazy and campy and out of control. I mean, those things were great, though. And I like that because I feel like wrestling is at its best when it's when it's a show that has a little bit of something for everyone. You know what I mean? I think it's not just one lane. I think there are multiple lanes you can take on a wrestling show to make it super entertaining, and I think wrestling is at its best when it's kind of a variety show.
So we probably maybe went through Bound for Glory, what feels like forever ago, but it's probably not that long. But I want to talk about that last match with the Dudleys. And it felt more than nostalgia. Did it feel like a glimpse into the future, and did it force you to confront how much time you guys have left in the business?
You know, it's funny. So many people are saying that now. They're like, "Oh my God, the Hardy's retirement match could be this, it could be that." Like, we don't even really think about that right now. You know what I mean? We both feel good. We're both cold plungers. We're just doing our thing, and you know, we knew Devon couldn't wrestle anymore, you know, and he got healthy enough that he could have this one match, and we went out there and we worked as hard as we could to make that match special, and it really was. I mean, being in that venue, which was the North American attendance record for TNA, it was amazing because the crowd was entirely emotionally invested into the match from beginning to end. We came out there, they started chanting. We had to start the match so the crowd stopped chanting. You know, and it's so great when the crowd is so into your match like that. It's amazing. And the Dudleys, they worked as hard as they possibly could, and I'm very, very proud of the match we had. And there's so many people that have watched that. There's been a lot of people that have told me that's their favorite match that they've ever seen. That's their favorite match of all time, especially the ending. Once we beat them, and Bubba just said, like, "I'm tired, I have to go," you know, and he's like, "Fine, just, you know, I'll die on the sword." We put them through the table. They take off their boots and they give them to us. We didn't know they were going to do that. So that was even more emotional that was happening. We knew that Devon was retiring, but we had no idea that they were both going to go ahead and take off the boots and give them to us.
And I got that little spark or that feeling of back in 08, 09, like on top of the ladder, arms wide open, before I do the swanton, not knowing if I'll survive or not, but got that feeling again. And then fast forwards a little bit to NXT, I was on top of a 12-footer the other way, and I felt really good up there, man. Because again, that's something I've always done. So yeah, I'm mega proud of that match with the Dudleys. It was the perfect ending.
No, most definitely. And there's a sentiment that Kurt Angle shares about his time in TNA in comparison to WWE, how he feels he had his best years in TNA. Do you share that sentiment as well?
I mean, I feel like we've had great years at WWE and TNA. But TNA, I mean, I would say WWE is our home because that is who made us, but TNA is our vacation home. You know, we love being here, we love going out, and we love the opportunity to experiment and try different things. And TNA has always been a great place to do that. And that's something that is so exciting about being on AMC and big things. Hey man, you're our first interview of the day. I don't think Ross can hear us right now. You want some spoilers?
Yeah.
You can post it, dude. Nobody even knows this, Ross. I'm gonna go ahead and give out this first match. All right. Look, on Impact Live, whenever we do TNA Impact on January the 15th, this has not been announced as of yet. Matt and Jeff Hardy, the Hardys, are going to team up with Elijah to take on Order 4, Mustafa Ali, and the Great Hands. It's going to be a 6-man tag. The Hardys are going to be in action. Hell, I'm going to go one better, Ross. And this hasn't been announced yet. It's going to be announced on TV coming up soon. But at Genesis, it is officially going to be the Hardys versus the Righteous. You got 2 big scoops. First interview of the day, man. Post them as soon as you can.
Oh, don't worry.
And the reason I got my full beard going on right now, I feel like it's going to work, but a breakthrough, mind-blowing, never done before face paint idea. So for January the 15th, man.
No kidding.
If it comes off the way I'm thinking, man, it's going to be one of a kind.
Are you going to use glow-in-the-dark paints? Or
No, it won't be glow. It won't be glow. It'll be super impressive.
Are you going to come out with your cape, doing the broken Matt Hardy, or no?
You never know.
I would imagine we're probably going to go in as the Hardy Boyz, the GOATs. It's kind of the new thing we're doing, the greatest of all time. I mean, we'd never say that about ourselves, but that's just the word on the street. That's the word on the street. So, you know, we try and keep our ear on the streets.
We still need to go out in that goat pasture and do a promo, man.
Yeah, we are.
Pull out the drone.
Who knows, man? Maybe me, Jeff, and Elijah will all ride up on horses to the match. Who knows?
Man, I love Elijah. He's a character in himself.
Yeah, he is.
And But to kind of bring this back home, I'd like to talk about some of the potential talent that you see in the industry that you can look at as raw untapped potential, and if there's any that stand out.
I'm all about some Leon Slater.
Yeah,
man.
Leon Slater's he is going to be a huge star going forward, no doubt about it. I think Mustafa Ali is doing the best work he's ever done. Yeah. I think he's killing it. I think he could be the champion at TNA. I could see that happening down the road. Mike Santana had a huge breakout year. He's been killing it as well. He's doing great, and he will continue to do great going into this year. He's finally getting his rematch against Frankie Kazarian now for the world title at the Live Impact on January 15th. Jason Hotch of the Great Hands. I think he's a guy that's got a ton of potential. I think he's gonna be a big star when it's all said and done too.
So, and you'll probably get this question a lot, right? But I just have to ask, if you guys had to book a triple threat match from you, an older team, and a modern team, who would you book?
An older team?
Yeah.
Like from any period?
Any period. You can throw the Von Erichs in there if you want.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I would maybe say, let's have, my choice would be the Hardy Boyz versus the Brain Busters versus, what is a younger team that I really like right now? It is killing it. Against the Motor City Machine Guns, because we've never wrestled them.
Was the Brainbusters totally an arm?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll go with the...
or we could call them Four Horsemen.
Okay. I'll go with us and the Freebirds, Jimmy Garvin and Michael Hayes, and the Von Erichs. I'll roll with that.
That's a good one. I like that one.
We'd have to do that in world class.
There we
Nice.
go. Now we're talking.
So I'm going to ask this question to each of y'all, but what is the difference between who y'all guys are and what you guys do?
There's not a big difference between mine. I don't think. What we're doing now, I think, is probably the most authentic versions of us. Because whenever we do promos and we speak, I feel like you're hearing things that the real Matt and the real Jeff would say in normal everyday life. It was a little different when you're in WWE. It's a little more, managed and a little more choreographed, especially when it comes to your promos and your vignettes and whatnot. I feel like what we're doing right now is probably the most realistic representation we've ever had, as far as the human beings of Man Jeff Hardy playing characters of Man Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, there's not much difference in my opinion about myself. I would just say, like right now here doing this media for TNA, I'm human form, and when I'm out there in the ring, I'm complete art form.
All right. I like that sentiment because when I spoke to Mike Santana a few weeks ago, he shared the same thing as it related to authenticity in the ring.
Yeah.
And how he is who he is in real life in the ring. So it's one of those what you see is what you get kind of deals. Yeah. My last question would probably be, how do you gentlemen define success within the 30 plus years that you have in the industry?
The fact that we are recognized as the most popular tag team of all time, the fact that we are also recognized as most likely the most influential tag team of all time. In the Dudleys, they keep saying that we're the most decorated of all time, and that's cool, but it's just, I feel like our success has been, we're two kids that came from a small antique town in Cameron, North Carolina, with a very small population. We had no ends to the wrestling business. We busted our asses.
Farming tobacco. We grew up farming tobacco, which was intense.
Busting our asses, and then we ended up making this work. We get hired at WWE. We end up doing really well in pro wrestling from a financial standpoint, and we've made good money for a lot of amount of years. But we have been able to inspire so many people to chase and follow their dreams. And I feel like that is probably something that deems our success as great, because we've been influential in inspiring other people to go out and be motivated and do their own thing.
Yeah, it's cool to be champions and all that, but when you, like at our meet and greets after the TNA show, so many people show up for us. Our diehardies are there showing us so much love and support, man. When, we've reached that spot in our existence, man, that's so important, and I think we're going to be able to, that love and support will continue to show up because we've touched so many human lives.
Gentlemen, I can't wait for the debut of TNA on AMC and Genesis following 2 days later, January 15th and 17th, live at the Curtis Corwell Center here in Dallas, Garland, Texas.
Yes.
So, gentlemen, I appreciate the time that we've shared today, getting an inside scoop on what TNA is about, more so you two as individuals and as a tag team. So for that, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time out of your day and allowing this to be a reality for us.
Thank you, brother.
man. This was a great interview to start the day, man.
All right,
thank you,
thank
man.
you.
You got it.
My man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.